Welcome, everyone, to another episode of AIME's Grow and Get It. I'm Tom Allis, president of Growth. Today, honor, privilege to sit with my good man, Brian Shields, with AmeriFund Home Loans. He has the title of National Sales Director, but as you know, he's still in the streets, writing loans, helping people in the weeds of the business. Brian, I think a lot of you have got to know him. One, he's been engaging more in our community. He's been active in, going to our events. Great public speaker, by the way. Has a lovely wife that's also in the industry. And, what I wanted to do with Brian today is I wanted to just kind of understand. I know I've heard things with Brian, right? I think he used to be an MMA fighter, was in law enforcement, had a background to where he made a switch going from a business that was not mortgage originating to an industry in mortgage originating, right? And for a lot of people that are thinking about either one, they made that jump and they're in their first year. And I came from, I'll say Thomas Sloan and myself both came from the service industry. We utilize that network to really start to build our business. I know Shane Oyumet, same thing. He was another guy head on here, service industry. Yours, I hate to say law enforcement's a service industry, but it really is, right? You're there to protect and serve. So to me, I view that, especially a good police officer, a good law enforcement is of service, right? How has that been, making that switch from a job where you are protecting and serving, and how does it relate to the business that you're doing today?
Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. So in law enforcement, we have a thing called the use of force continuum. And so the very first thing on the use of force continuum is presence. So how do you show up? How do you show up at the scene? Before you make any sort of engagement, how do you show up at the scene? And so how that translates into mortgage is my social media presence, my community interaction, the things I do with the nonprofits that we're involved in. It's really important for me. I make sure everyone finds a way, not everyone I want to connect with me, but everyone finds a way to find a connection with me if they're of similar personality type or of a similar background. And with that, with the connection, I'm able to make it to where everyone knows what I do, and I don't really have to ask for business. I get a lot of, direct messages, hey, Brian, saw your post about the candy. I hate black licorice too. My husband and I are looking to get into a home this summer, that sort of stuff. And so it's just connection, right? And in COVID, we lost so much of that personal connection. And so for those of us that thrive off of that, I think this is our ability to really level up in the industry.
Yeah, and I think you've done a great job with that. Like this reminds me very similar to, Fidel, who I had on here, I think it was last week or two, but it was the same thing, like being authentic, right? I've known you, I would say maybe a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that might even be a stretch. It feels longer because I have an authentic connection with you, right? I think you're transparent. You're a good person. You do what you say you're going to do. You show up. You're always asking, what can I do to help, right? And I think your clients see that. So for somebody that's moving from a different field, coming into the mortgage industry, what would you suggest that they do to help create that engagement that you're getting?
One is you got to be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you think you're going to go from selling Teslas to doing 3 or 4 loans a month right away, especially in this market, there might be a few of you that do, but you got to be patient. This industry, you can't really have a sprinter's mindset. You got to have a marathon mindset. And everything that you do today is setting up for loans tomorrow or 6 months from now. So the best thing I can say is patience and consistency. If your message, if you're involved in networking events, be at every networking event. If you're involved in stuff with your kids' sports and you're the mortgage broker on the kids' soccer team, show up to every game. Engage with people, talk to people, become relatable. And with your social media, the same thing. Jeanette and I, we have a great funny story. We met 7 weeks later. We were married. I have a 25-year-old daughter. I have a 21-year-old son. I had the plumbing cut off after my first divorce. I was not going to have any more kids. And then she shows up with those big, pretty eyes and, put a baby in me. And now I have a 3-year-old. And I'm the dad all over again. He's almost 4. He's special needs. And we don't flaunt him to get business. We share our story. We share our
Yep.
story of the challenges that Jackson faces. We share our story of the challenges of getting tubes in his ears and the medical system and these things. And what that is one, it allows us to connect with other people in our community of parents of an autistic or special needs child. But it also connects with them being like, oh, like Shields is doing it.
Authentic.
Authentic. It's connection. And man, if I could get one of those cool little tattoos on the lower part of my back, I think that's going to be the next big phase of tattoos. It's going to be
Please don't do that.
Connection.
I like it. So, tell me if this relates to what you're saying. To me, I'm a firm believer that exactly as you said, the work that you're doing today is a seed that's being planted. You cannot expect to plant the seed and it bear fruit the next day. You need to tend to it. We're in a business, in my opinion, good originators, good self-driven originators are farmers, right? I'm constantly tending to my field. I'm tending to the seeds that I planted 3 months ago with the real estate agents I took out to an event or to a client that maybe was pre-qualified but didn't buy a house. These are all seeds that require maintenance. You got to water it. You have to make sure it's not getting eaten by the bugs, trigger leads. You have to tend to it. And I see that happening. And for you, it is authentic. So I'm going to summarize for those that are on this call that maybe, I want the success today. I would say if that's what you're looking for, you got to have a change in mindset, right? You need to look at, okay, what action can I take today to put this seed in the ground? And what is my follow-up to make sure that I can get this seed to bear fruit? It may take a year. There are some trees that take 5 years. I can say for me personally, I've been in this industry now 22 years roughly. It's taken 10 years sometimes to crack into getting into a real estate office where I even have a shot, right? So be patient, be consistent, manage the field, manage what you can control and staying in front of them. Now, sometimes we're going to have bad things that happen, right? And this was another subject that you and I got a chance to talk about when bad things happen, right? Maybe it's things that we don't control. Maybe it's rising interest rates. Maybe I had a deal that, I pre-qualified and then the client lost their job or they had a credit inquiry and they went and bought the new Tesla. What is your mindset on that?
It's the most simple, but also for me, the most impactful. And it is, I say to myself, now what? Okay. And if you're around me, you hear this probably more than you want to. But if I fall down the stairs and I get back up, I'm like, man, that hurt. Now what? If I lose a deal to another broker, another lender, and my client doesn't call me back, I don't get pissed at that other guy. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, hey, now what? Where did you go wrong? What did you do wrong? How are you going to move forward? I don't dwell on that past. The life that I grew up with it sucked. It was rough. The family that raised me was really awful people. I wasn't, now what? I'm going to let that, I make my own path. So if you have that mindset of all right, that happened. Now what? Rates are up. Can I sit here and be commiserating with everyone else, drinking my sorrows away at the bar at noon, all that stuff like that? Or can I get my butt back in the game, bring a level of excitement and energy to the clients that are out there house shopping, be like, hey, here's where we are. Everyone's got this. Rates are up. Do you want the house? We're going to refinance you. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be 6 months. I don't know if it's going to be 2 years. Get that house you want now. And if you're that person that has that energy and that excitement about it, and everyone else is like, oh, man, 2021 was super cool, man. I made so much money. I can't wait for 2025 to come around. Like, bro, you might as well go get your little squeegee and start washing my car now because you're not going to make it.
Like, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I like the saying too, because truthfully, what you're saying is, don't sit in negativity. Don't dwell in things that you can't. Now, what is like, what am I going to do about it? What can I control? All that you can control are your actions and your attitude, right? You can't control the results. You can't control other things that we talk about. Now what? How am I going to show up today? Am I going to get on a call with Tom at early in the morning to have a recording? Am I going to go out and try to influence someone's life to help them achieve something they didn't know? Am I going to reach out to an originator today and tell them about a business model that we offer in the wholesale channel that's going to help change their life? What are we going to do? Now what? I freaking love it. So, Brian, we like to keep these short and sweet. And I know one thing, you and I could probably sit and talk for hours.
And we will.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your positivity within our group. I appreciate the collaboration. Right. I'm happy for you with the new move that you made. You got a great team with great leadership there. I'm glad to see that you're a part of it. I'm really looking forward to the now what is going to happen with you now that you're in this position. And I think you're going to do an amazing job. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this week on another episode of AIME's Grow and Get It. Tom Allis with AIME. If you want to check out some of our past episodes, as you heard me reflect on a few others, we keep all of them on our YouTube page at AIME National. We'll be here every Monday at noon Eastern, and we look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, go out and grow and get it.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.